Ho ho ho! It's the season of Altered Reveals. I hope you've been good, because I've got an exclusive Lyra card from Trial by Frost to share with you. Here is the maneuver spell Joyride. It's card number 46 of the set and the 10th of 15 Lyra cards, the second of 4 spells. 1 mana from hand and 1 from reserve. It's cheap. This means it can be played as your last mana or even as an after you play. It joins the rank of the 1/1 cards from set 1, including A Cappella Training, Martingale, Paper Herald, and Studious Disciple. And the 2 other spells from the set 2, Sleight of Hand and Silent Night. Yes, you heard that right. 3 1/1 Lyra spells in Trial by Frost. So, what does this spell do? Well, it gives 2 boosts to a targeted character in exchange for discarding a card from your reserve. Note, in case you want to just play it as an after you, that the effects are mandatory when possible. Apart from Nivenka and Unix, All-In was the only Lyra card that could directly boost a targeted character. I was never a fan of that card, as it's costly for a somewhat random outcome. Joyride is a welcome addition for the pinks, allowing you to surprise an opponent on an expedition late in the afternoon, or both expeditions thanks to the energetic bar. It can also trigger a unique effect requiring at least 1 boost. This card introduces the new keyword cooldown, a somewhat debatable choice, as in the context of the Trial by Frost, you'd think we'd want to warm up before a summit push. More seriously, if the card isn't fleeting and moves to the reserve after resolving its effect, it will remain exhausted until the following morning. This means it can only be played once per afternoon, unlike other common spells like A Cappella Training. The exhaustion mechanic for reserve cards is a defining feature of set 2, represented in-game by tapping the card, much like mana orbs, certain heroes and permanents. It's worth noting, even though this doesn't apply to Joyride, that a tapped card cannot be discarded for its support effect. Managing your reserve will become much more complex. The trade is fair when you consider support effects that grant 1 boost to the next character you play. Here, it's 2 boosts for 1 mana and any card in the reserve discarded. And you pass the turn. The downside of discarding a card isn't too bad, because the prevalence of the exhaustion mechanic will likely leave you with deadweight cards in your reserve. This spell allows you to make use of an exhausted card, even though playing it from your hand will leave Joyride itself tapped in the reserve. However, tapped doesn't mean you cannot bring it back with effects like Flamels or Hathers. Considering unique cards with a passive effect triggered by a card leaving the reserve during the afternoon, I thought it would be cool when playing this spell to have such a unique in play that returns a card or a spell from our reserve to our hand. I discussed this with Maverick. He confirmed it would be possible to return the exhausted Joyride to the end this way, provided all its effects are resolved first, of course, so that it moves from the limbo to the reserve. Unfortunately, when checking what exists on alterdb.com, the search engine did not return any results for this combination. Maybe it will be among the unique cards in set 2. In any case, discarding can trigger other existing effects, such as granting fleeting to a character, drawing a card, or anchoring a character with a cost of 3 or less. To avoid the headaches of exhaustion, the rare version simply removes the cooldown keyword. Nothing else changes, but that changes everything. It becomes possible to use the card twice in the same afternoon. Personally, I've loved doing this with A Cappella Training or even Twinkle Twinkle. Not only is it useful, but it can also make your opponent show their cards first. Keep in mind, though, that you will need to have 2 cards in the reserve to discard, and you will also need to find room to include the spell in the 15 rares of your deck. I find the flavor text spot on. Everything fun in life is either forbidden or completely crazy. The English version was printed with a small typo, which collectors will surely appreciate, as it will be certainly corrected later. And which faction gets to enjoy this little boosting spell? While one could have thought of Bravos, it's actually Izmir. I think the spell fits well with Afanas or even Akesha. Izmir includes plenty of spells like Magical Training or Off You Go, which you might want to recycle if you cannot return them to your hand. So this one mana spell could be a nice addition. However, since the Out of Faction is the common Lyra version, it will come with the cooldown keyword. Now let's look at the artwork. The illustration was created by Justice Wong from Hong Kong, who also worked on Retail Loki and Paint Prison in set 1. It depicts two children having the time of their lives on Santa's sleigh. They likely don't have his permission for this joyride, as one of his staff members is chasing after them. Their ride seems quite reckless, judging by the tracks on the ice and the flying presents. Other children are playing in the background, and one in front, who was ice skating, is left stunned as the white sleigh rushes past. It narrowly avoids hitting them. It captures the effect of the card well. You wreak havoc, but earn rewards and have fun along the way. In the rare version, there are more children enjoying the sleigh, along with more presents. The reindeer sports a tie and even cooler glasses, looking quite pleased with the situation. Everything shines a little brighter. The child in the foreground and those in the back are now wearing Santa hats as well. That's it for the presentation of Joyride. Tell me what you think of the card in comments and whether you plan to use it. A huge thanks to Loki and Equinox for this new reveal opportunity after the Cloth Cocoon. Don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe, it's always appreciated. See you soon for more content. Bye bye!